Thank you for having me. Thank you for the introduction too. And I know it's a mouthful. That title, I got to work on it. It's a lot of words in a title. I've tried to truncate it many different ways, and it just haven't figured it out yet. But yes,
I think it's
service
perfect.
and
Let
field
us
service.
meet you where you are, Colette. I will work on my tip of the tongue twisters to get it going next time. Okay.
You've been going a lot longer than I have. I'm on the West Coast, so I'm just getting started for the day. The tongue
Oh,
twisters will
wow.
follow
Good
the
morning to you. Thank you so much for being here at the, I think I can hear, yeah, I think I hear the rooster in the background with the
Yep.
crack of dawn. Yep.
No, it's not.
So,
It's not bad at all. Thankfully, the sun is starting to come out here. It's not dark right now, so that helps.
okay, good. And we're going to get that daylight savings here in the States in about a week, I think. So you're going to get a little
Yes.
more sunshine, or it'll be dark. I forget, for the mornings, it'll be darker in the morning, or we'll
Spring
get
forward, we'll get lighter in the morning. It'll be good.
it'll get lighter in the morning. There we go. Yeah.
Looking
Okay,
forward to it
good.
for sure. And thank you for having
Yeah.
me. I really appreciate it. Joining you guys at the Diversity Reboot series, very exciting, and happy that EnerSys partners with the Power to Fly group and everything that you guys do. It's very exciting. I've learned quite a bit about the organization just in the last couple of months as I've been talking with our team about this.
Awesome. Was there anything in your career journey that you would like to share about? I read some of your bio there before we jump into the questions.
Gosh, well, it's been almost 1 year since I've been in this position as a vice president, and that was quite a shift for me for sure. I've had a lot of time preparing to get to this position, but it's been an exciting year, full of challenges and opportunities to learn, and really feel like I've finally hit my stride in the last couple of months. So that's one thing to share with the group here who may be thinking about career changes, big career changes, is be patient with yourself and give yourself
Mm.
time to get into the groove of whatever that new role is. I know we all expect ourselves to hit the ground running on day one, but I have told a lot of my employees over the years in our organization, especially with how complex it is, that new people coming into the company, and I think this is the case for a lot of people going into any company for the first time, give yourself 3 to 6 months to really understand what you're doing and where you're at in the organization, what the culture is, and don't beat yourself up if you feel like you don't know everything in the first 90 days. Because I've been here almost 20 years and I'm still learning.
I love that. I love that approach of becoming sort of the Zen approach to the beginner's mind, right? Be patient, and every day we can learn something new, and don't expect ourselves to know everything on day one.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. So could you tell us a little bit about, so there was this catalyzing event in your career that helped you become the first female president of field services at EnerSys. Can you talk about what that was?
Sure. I think there's two. The first one really was very early on in my career. I think I was maybe 2 years in, 3 years in with the company, and had just started to work in the field service group, kind of supporting procurement of field services, contracts, and things like that. So kind of on the periphery. But very onset, I had the opportunity to go out into the field for about a week with some of our field technicians and project managers and go see some of our job sites, basically get out from my comfort zone behind a desk. And it was really beneficial because looking back on it, that's an opportunity that not a lot of people in my organization had before. And I've been trying to give my team more and more of those opportunities if they are more of the business operations folks who are in the offices behind the computers most of the time. What I gained from it was a immediate exposure to my coworkers in the field who are now my team, and some of them are also now my biggest customers. They've shifted into other companies, and so making those connections early on was really helpful. It exposed me to the real world working environment that our field service team was living in, kind of a day in their shoes, where it's really easy to say, I need the field team to do X, Y, Z every single day. They need to send a report. They need to click a button, do something like that, to then be in the field and be on the road with them in a car for 12 hours, jumping from job site to job site, and realizing what that was really like, how different the environment was from where I had come from. It gave me a better understanding of the different perspectives and challenges that are there between our field service team and our back office business operations teams, and try to kind of bridge the gap between the two, and share some of what I learned in the field. One of the things that when I was leading our project management office and our purchasing teams 10 years ago or so, was recognizing that people who hadn't been out in the field and were used to working from behind a computer were sending big lengthy emails to the field folks, asking them to do things or giving them directions on something that needed to happen. And being able to give some input back to those people or feedback back to them, such as realize that your audience is working from a cell phone. They are not looking at the same size screen as you. So when you're writing an email, keep it to bullet points. Don't write a whole paragraph, because you're going to lose them in the first sentence. So if you have a key message to give them, change the way you're presenting it so that your audience can digest it. So that I never would have realized if I hadn't gone into the field so early. And I was really able to, from there, get more comfort in being in the field on a regular basis, somewhat regular basis, at least going out into the field a couple times a year to visit different facilities, warehouses, people, customers. And it made me much more comfortable with that area that I didn't really have a lot of knowledge of. I'm not a technical person, so being in the field was a little bit, off for me, but it also helped me to build credibility with that group of people, that I was willing to get out there and see what their life was like and bring some feedback from my world into theirs, and then vice versa, bring their feedback to my back office team. So kind of the lesson from that was really, to me as a leader, that it's really important to invest that little bit of time and money in your people or yourself to get closer to your products or get closer to your people, so that you know what a day in the life really is like. I think it's really valuable for any leader to, especially in a new career move, get out there and, walk a day in the shoes of whoever your team is, and people outside of your team and your organization, to really understand what their environment is like. You don't need to know how to do their jobs. That's not what it takes to be a successful leader, but you do need to know what their job is like and what the environment is like and what the challenges are, so that you can help them with those challenges over time.
Yeah, it sounds like what it's inviting is this level of empathy for your coworkers and for your peers.
Exactly. And then building, again, like I said, that credibility, because being the first female vice president of our field service group, I don't have any experience being in the field other than those field trips. I've not been a technician. I've not turned the wrenches. I haven't lifted the batteries. I haven't turned up a DC rectifier plant. All the things that the 90% of my team does today, I've never done their jobs, but I've been out there to see what their jobs are like, so I can sympathize, empathize, and hopefully help them to find new ways to be successful in those jobs.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. Could you tell our listeners, perhaps that aren't familiar with EnerSys, a bit about what EnerSys does? Sounds like there's a lot of moving parts.
There is. So EnerSys is a large, we're almost to $4 billion in revenues now. I think that's our new target for this coming year. And there's 3 different sections of the company, 3 different lines of business. The part that I am in is called Energy Systems, and it's a combination of backup power systems, including batteries and rectifiers and DC systems, all sorts of power that helps everything that we today use in the world to keep on running. So what we're doing right now, this Zoom meeting, is powered in part by the products and services that EnerSys provides to customers and companies like Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, Comcast, Charter, to name a few. So we are the power behind everyday communications and emergency services that everybody relies on.
Incredible, truly incredible. I always love when working here at Power to Fly that I get to, partner and work with companies that I was like, oh, they've been here all along, and I had no idea until I came to Power to Fly. Like, I get to learn things, and I was like, wow, there's so, because then, yes, there's these companies, but then I'm always reminded that there are so many people. It's the people that are
Yeah.
working so hard to make all of this happen.
And it's true. I mean, EnerSys and all of the brands that lie under the EnerSys name are not household names until you start to see them. Then you'll see them everywhere. If you drive down the street in your neighborhood up on a power pole, there's a gray box most of the time up on that power pole in your all over your neighborhood. That's our product. That's our cabinet. Inside that cabinet is batteries and the power supply and communication systems that keep the signals running to your home and throughout your neighborhoods. And it's, once you know where it is, you'll start to see it everywhere, but we are completely invisible to most of the world. And that's a good thing too. We want to be
Right.
invisible because you know, the power keeps on running and you don't notice that there's an issue if we do our jobs well.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
I love that. So for our folks that are listening in, that maybe are seeking some advice and seeking, you know, maybe some big career moves, as that's what we're talking about in this summit, from your perspective as an executive, you know, what advice can you give to folks?
Sure. So although I've been in the same company for almost 20 years, I've moved into a lot of different positions and different segments of the company. So I've made some big career moves in my time, even within this organization. So first thing is, you know, this is advice for anyone looking to move, whether it's in your current employer or outside. You know, within your current employer, I think the risks are similar to outside, that you know, you're going to have to try something new, work with a different group of people, and take some risks. So one thing that, talking with some of my colleagues leading up to this, that I was asking them, you know, what would you want to hear about? What is your thoughts on big career moves? And one who sparked some thoughts in me was embracing an empowered mentality in your job search. Don't be passive in your job search. Really become your own best advocate and expect that, you know, you've got to toot your own horn a little bit. It's something that I've told some of my coworkers and my employees over the years too, as I've, you know, moved throughout my organization and grown in my career. And I watch other people who are trying to grow in their career and realize that they need to toot their own horn a little bit more. Don't be afraid to promote yourself in the right kind of way. Don't expect that others will see and recognize the value of what you do. Some people will, but a lot of people won't, because we're all pretty self-centered, let's be honest. We're paying more attention to ourselves than anybody else around us. So don't be ashamed to post your accomplishments on LinkedIn. That's one really great place where you can promote yourself and your company at the same time. And advocate for other people in your organization. When you see other people making great accomplishments, celebrate that with them, celebrate in public and bring attention to it. That will come back to you. Your network will remember that and probably do the same thing for you. If you put positivity out there and an empowered sort of approach to things, you're going to get that back. And really know and use your network. Don't be shy about it, but be genuine. Don't just, you know, be out there tooting your own horn every single day. You've got to be selective about what is most important and what do you want to be known for? What do you want your brand to be? And use that throughout your networking, internally and externally, when you're, you know, trying to prepare for that next job search, or you just want to get your name out there. But know that you've got to be your own biggest advocate.
I love that. I forget who said this. Someone said it to me recently in one of the chats we were having, where there's the old saying, there's no I in team, but team can also stand for tell everyone about myself.
I haven't heard that one. That's good.
I hadn't heard that one either. I was like, oh, that one's really good.
Remember that one.
Yeah, right. Tell everyone about myself. Yeah, because it's so important to, because people aren't going to know unless we tell them.
Exactly. Yes. Some people will observe and they'll see what you've done, and you'll
Sure.
get the recognition for it sometimes. But most of the time, it goes unnoticed because, again, we're all thinking about ourselves. And unless you have really, really strong leadership in the organization that you're in today, it's not likely that they're going to recognize all the great things that you've done. They'll recognize a few of them, but there's so much more going on. And especially if you tend to be a little bit more of a wallflower, or somebody who likes to sort of observe. If you're in a team lunch or a dinner or something like that, any kind of an opportunity to network, push yourself to come out from that wall and start talking to other people. You've really got to socialize and use that network, because I look at my organization today and think of a couple of people who have really accelerated in their careers and who are doing wonderful stuff. I've had to really pull some of the big wins out of them. They're doing great work, but they don't tell me about it. So I don't notice it. And I have to ask them some stuff. And that's important to do as a leader. You need to make sure you're checking in with those quieter people, and that they are doing really good things, and you have to maybe work a little harder to find it and recognize it, but they're not going to toot their horn on their own. And those are the folks that I keep on reminding them to, don't be shy, tell me and tell others what you're working on and what you're doing, because you're doing some pretty amazing stuff, but it's all happening silently behind the scenes. So take the credit for it.
Yeah, it's potentially it's a huge perspective shift for folks. I think a lot of us growing up, depending on where and how, don't brag, don't, you got to be modest if you want to make it through, all these different things that we maybe have taken it a little too far, right? And some of it are useful things that maybe not serving us in the best way they can anymore, and letting go of that stuff, and getting permission from folks and leaders like you that are like, yeah, celebrate those wins.
Exactly. And I think it's something that tends to be more the case with females in the workplace, because for that reason that you just described, we've typically, a lot of us have been raised to not brag and be, very sort of demure, and I will say in my organization, that's not the case. It is equal challenge for females and males in my organization. Two people that come to the top of my mind right now: one really strong female, one really strong male, who are very quiet in the background, but do amazing things, and really trying to pull them out of their shells to, take those next big moves in their career.
Yeah. And I also imagine, I've heard some tips from other folks, in relationship to career shifts as well. It's important for us to celebrate our own wins, because it's easy to think about all the things that I didn't do today that I need to get to tomorrow. And it's like, well, what about all of this great stuff that I did? There's that negativity bias that humans inherently have, because we learned to not touch the coals because it burned us, and then we learned how to cook. But now when we're working in the field or at computers, we need to celebrate our wins, to remember and to keep our own well-being up.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point. You gotta do some positive self-talk too.
Yeah, positive self-talk is so important. How are we talking to ourselves? And there's also, I love someone in the spirit of other phrases that I hadn't heard before that I love, that I've heard here. Someone was like, oh, every time you get good feedback, take a screenshot of it, make a folder. I call it my brag bag. And I was like, I love that. A brag bag. Just need a little pick me up. Yeah, exactly. Or when at times, it's come for quarterly reviews or things like that, then you have a little brag bag you can refer to.
That's exactly it. Yeah. At EnerSys, we have a continuous improvements process, and HR is going to be unhappy with me that I can't remember the terms for this, but essentially a brag bag. It's something that we all are required to do at least once a quarter, to go in and document all of our goals and accomplishments and sort of mark those accomplishments, because it's really easy to forget them as the year goes on. Something great you did in January, by the time you get to December, I can't remember it, and nobody else is going to remember it. So forcing us to really document those achievements certainly helps during annual review times, or when you're building your resume for that next promotion, to really have that in your toolbox. And again, don't be ashamed of having that. You need to have a brag bag.
And I love hearing that EnerSys encourages and folks to do that, to have that, and provides, we were just talking about in the previous talk, structure. It's very helpful when structure is provided, because it can
Yes.
enable folks such as myself to like come out of their shell a little bit for these wins and lead us down our next exciting, or lead us up perhaps to our next exciting path.
Exactly.
So when you were I understand you made a big career move a few years ago, and then you realized that it was perhaps not the path you wanted to continue on. So how did you recognize that, and how did you change course?
Sure. Yes. So this was, 4 or 5 years ago, I think. While I was pursuing my master's degree, I did that an executive master's degree that gave me a lot of opportunities to learn totally different aspects of business management that I hadn't encountered yet. That was the whole purpose. During that, one of my leaders had a great opportunity for me to shift from where I was into product management. Product management was never on my roadmap, never a thought in my career. I'm not a technical person, not a product person. In our company, highly technical products is what we do. But I took the opportunity because I saw that it was a way to expand my skill set and challenge myself in a way. So I went into a part of our company that is much smaller than what I had come from traditionally. And product management was way, way, way outside of my comfort zone, way beyond anything I thought that I was ever going to do. I learned a lot during that, though, about business management. It was a great way to put my master's degree into direct application. As product manager, you're responsible for basically your own small business. You have to manage the engineering aspects of it, the marketing aspects, the costing, the customer insights, all various things. I mean, it was a great way to expose me, but I recognized that it really wasn't the right thing for me because I wasn't doing what I was really passionate about. It was very exciting and interesting stuff, and it challenged me a lot, but I wasn't feeling really fulfilled every day when I finished that work. I was helping a lot of people and bringing some of what I knew to the table, and I was learning a lot, like I said. But after I recognized that this wasn't really going to be the path I should continue on, I decided I'm going to get as much out of it as I possibly can to help develop my career, not run away from it. But I corrected it by taking the opportunity to really define what I did like about my job and what I did want to pursue. And I took lessons from it to my next role. I tried to focus not so much on what I did not like or what was not fitting, but really use that opportunity to better define what was I doing in my previous role, or what am I doing in this role that I really do like. And I took all that and reconnected with my previous leadership, shared with them what I had learned, what I was seeing that I could bring back to the organization as a stronger person and a bigger role with the company. That included things like process improvement, financial management, leadership. Although as a product manager, I had no employees. I went from a position where I think I had probably 60 or 70 employees to 0. So that was a huge shift for me as well. And realizing the difference in direct influence versus indirect influence, and how important it is to hone your skills as an indirect influencer, as a leader. You don't have to be in control of everything and, control people's fate by being their manager to get what you need and to lead people. You have to flex those indirect influence muscles a lot more to help people come along with you. So I learned from that and brought it into my next role. I left on good terms, helped set up the next person who came into that job, hopefully for more success by putting some organizational structures and things in place. And the lesson that I learned from it, and that I think everybody can learn as you make big career changes, if you realize that you're not on the right path, recognize it quickly. One of the principles that we use at EnerSys, actually in our general operations, are EnerSys operating system. It's a lean manufacturing set of principles, basically, is to fail fast and learn from it and move. And in this, I failed fast and I learned from it. I learned that every risk you take, every change that you make, there's an opportunity to learn and grow. And with this one, although it wasn't the right career path for me, in the brief time that I was there, I probably learned 10 times as much as I had in the previous 10 years, because I had so much to stretch myself on. I had so many diverse people, things, challenges, customers, that every day I was outside of my comfort zone. And it helped me to realize I can do that and I can still be successful and come back into a position where now, a few years later, back into the core of the part of the organization I know, but I'm in a completely different role, in a much bigger role.
Wow, that is so amazing. And we only have 1 minute left, and we just got 6 questions that came in the chat in this 1 minute. So you just lit a fire, Colette, and everyone. We're not going to get a chance to answer all of them, unfortunately. I wish we could. I love, just to highlight some of the things you were saying about the indirect influencer. That's really beautiful, and making these pivots with clarity. And someone asked in this last minute, and in tips or tools you could helped you most in developing indirect influence skills, because I think that's a very interesting topic.
I would say quickly, it is really putting yourself in the other person's shoes and understanding what motivates them. What are they, let's just really directly, what are they compensated for? What is it that they're incentivized on? And how can you help them be more successful to achieve that while you're achieving your goals as well? And that's some of the ways that you can sort of indirectly influence and helping people to see how what you're working on or what you're trying to get them to come with you to do is for the greater good of a team or a greater goal that the whole company needs to achieve together. And it's really shifting your mindset away from, a lot of people coming into management realize, I have power over this group of people, whoever it is that you're responsible for. And that can become a power trip, and it can be abused sometimes if you don't realize that you don't have to be in control, like I said, and you don't have to be the boss to have influence over other people. You can influence in a positive way through, like I said, connecting with them, understanding what motivates them, and looking at how we together can accomplish something, not how I need you to do something so that I'm successful.
Beautiful words of advice. Thank you so much for making the time today. For folks that want to keep the conversation going, how can they stay connected with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, and also if anybody is interested in EnerSys, I've got to just tell you, one of the biggest challenges I have right now in my role is finding good qualified people, or even people willing to learn in the field service group. So anybody who's interested in learning a new skill set, if you have any colleagues, friends, kids who are coming into the workforce, learning a trade that in our industry especially, it's going to keep growing for at least 10 years. I just finished up a tech board meeting yesterday where it's really, really clear that what we do in this industry is going to be growing rapidly for another 10 years. So it's a great opportunity to get in, learn some skills, and develop really a career path. So take a look at jobs.enersys.com or powertofly.com/jobs to see what EnerSys is hiring for. I have tons of positions open in our field service group right now that I would love to welcome anybody to apply for.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for making the time. And I hope you have a great rest of your morning. Maybe you can get that cup of coffee now. Good luck to you. Thank you again for making the time today.
Thank you very much.